Bob Chapman, I know I'm almost hyperventilating on this subject, but it's so obvious to me and everybody else, but I guess not the general public. The regular flu kills 37,000. When there are normal deaths this winter, if there are a couple thousand deaths, they're going to act like it's the end of the world, forced inoculations. The perfect cover for Obama to get all his police state measures through Congress, his carbon taxes, his new Bank of the World, where this new bank will rule the United States. I mean, they're openly announcing it. Do you see them using this flu or thinking about using it as a cover, as the stage crises they need?
There's a good possibility of that because they could use it as a stepping stone. And that stepping stone is very strong. And I believe that probably the next thing that would happen after that perhaps would be an extension of warfare, perhaps in the Middle East, a situation with the dollar where others don't want to take it because it's fallen, which could bring on a bank holiday. There's a whole combination of things that they're working on here that you and I have to back into, and others like us, because we're not on the inside. We don't know exactly what we're going. We have to look at the history of what they've done and the history of history, and then we have to back into what we think they're going to do. But there's no question. This is part and parcel of something much bigger.
And it's not just us saying this. Michael Savage, Limbaugh, they're all saying Obama may stage a crisis, economic, military, or in the case of Savage, and he's like the third biggest host in the country, he's saying stage a terror attack. If guys at that level have been given the green light to talk about this, that means some major people, even in the system, are concerned about it. I mean, I don't see Obama being able to continue what he's doing without a stage crisis or group of crises, but because we've exposed government stage crises and terror, the Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution, creating crises and offering the solution, I don't see them getting away with it. But I also don't see them continuing their operation without it. I mean, the Gallup poll is out. Obama is now the lowest, the fastest drop of any president ever, now beating even Jimmy Carter.
Well, and that says a mouthful as well, and that's true. I think the approval rating I last saw at Rasmussen was around a 44, and I haven't seen it in the new polls over the last week. But, yes, they're trying to get as much accomplished as quickly as possible because I think that, and you do as well, from the polls, that and I said this in January, that Obama would be 40 by September, October in his approval rating.
You did.
And
you're right again, Bob.
He's not going to get anything passed.
You're right again. How did you, at the peak of the Obama worship, know he was going to fall like a shooting star? Because, you know, the bigger the hype, the more the empty promises, the faster it deflates.
Well, the reason I thought so was, and you saw the same thing I did. He is a pupil of Zbigniew Brzezinski. And that's just one faction of, say, two major factions within the Illuminists that run things. And when we saw Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase and Citigroup and all of those companies giving these humongous amounts of money to the Democratic group and as well as Mr. Obama's campaign, we're talking, millions of dollars. We knew then that he was going to be controlled by this group. And being controlled by the group means he's going to do exactly what they tell him to do. I don't think that he has anything to say about anything, much less maybe a little bit, but much less than George Bush had. I mean, you look at the teleprompter, and that's it.
Well, Bob, I agree with you, especially when I saw Clinton operative Stephanopoulos a few weeks ago tearing into Axelrod, his counterpart. That was the same position he held, saying, well, Obama lied about not raising taxes. He's raising it on everybody. And Axelrod saying, we never promised to not raise taxes. And then Stephanopoulos playing clips. They're meant now to blame it all on Obama like he's really the one running the show. Then they'll just give us a new puppet. I mean, this is so predictable. How do we get the public to look past Bush and Obama and these puppets to Paulson and Bernanke and Geithner and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Well, that's starting to happen. So we'll talk about that, the economy, where you see all this going, and calls straight ahead. Infowars.com. We are back live with Bob Chapman, the internationalforecaster.com. Your calls are coming up. We've got Dar Jamal, reporter for Counterpunch and other major publications, who has been inside Iraq and give you the latest developments there. Is it really a troop drawdown or build down, as they Orwellingly call it? But Bob, when you first got on the first 5 minutes, some stations don't carry that, so I wanted to have you start back over with your breakdown of the $23.7 trillion the White House admits has been taken. Congressman this week in banking hearings, we've posted the clips up on the websites, InfoWars and Prison Planet, have been asking where'd the money go, including a $500 billion to foreign banks at least, and Bernanke won't say where it went. You were explaining this is a purposeful implosion of the economy to feed everything into the system, the carbon tax. We now have the bill passed the House to regulate every facet of life, home inspections. The feds could kick you out of your house, no judge, no jury, asset forfeiture, seizure, seize any industries they want. It's already happening. Bankruptcy laws are being overthrown by the executive, by fiat. This really is America-ending, nation-ending type stuff, as Congressman Gohmert said in the last hour. So break down the master plan, what you see the enemy doing from your deep research, and then we're going to go to calls.
Well, it's a full court press is what it is. And they've gone for broke. If you remember during the Second World War, the Japanese-American soldiers, they had a patch, go for broke, and they had a pair of dice. But anyway, for those of you too young to remember that, it's a little bit of history.
No, I've seen it in newsreels, but go ahead.
Okay, well, you've been observing. But anyway, this come down, this breakdown of the international financial system has been all planned. And what they're doing right now is stealing. They're stealing money. They're printing it with no collateralization whatsoever, and they're allowing credit, and it's going to banks throughout the world and brokerage houses and, in some instances, insurance companies, so that they'll all stay solvent. Yes, they'll owe loans that they can never pay back, but they'll be solvent. The rest of everything else is going to go down, with the exception of gold and silver. And that's why they have continued since 1988 in a big way for the last dozen years to suppress the prices of gold and silver, because they are the canary in the coal mine, so to speak. And when gold goes up, people think something is wrong, and they're right. Now, it has gone up, but it should be selling gold for anywhere between $2,500 and $3,000 an ounce. But getting back to what they're doing, they are funneling money everywhere. And when Bloomberg demanded where did $2 trillion go to, which is inconsequential now in the scheme of things, a federal judge said to the Fed, where did it go? And the Fed says, well, we can't tell you. It's a state secret. That was the beginning of this. Now, I projected at the beginning of the year for the numbers I was seeing, and then changed my figures on the way up to $14.8 trillion. And, of course, we saw the $23.7 trillion that was presented to Congress last week. So I underestimated. I was conservative, but that's okay. It's so bad, it's unbelievable. And, you know, who knows what the real numbers are? I mean, they might be 50 trillion or 100 trillion for all we know. All we know is they won't tell us where it's going. And it's being funneled into their supporters, so to speak. The bankers, the illuminists, the brokerage firms, the insurance companies. They want them to survive in this new world corporatist fascist state. And this is what they're heading for. And I'll tell you something, Alex, referring back to what you said earlier in the program regarding the other host, particularly Savage, the reason they're doing what they're doing is we are forcing them to do it because we are scooping them. We've got the whole thing nailed, and they want part of it for their ratings, and that's why they're doing it.
Absolutely. In fact, do you guys have that Savage clip ready? Let's play this because this is important, and Limbaugh's been saying similar things. Here it is. Oh, this is classic. The YouTube's not playing. That's fine. We'll get to it later. We have high-quality computers here. Okay, here it is now.
Now I'll make another prediction. I predict that very soon Obama will create a crisis along the lines of the Reichstag fire. I don't know what form it will take, but I believe that once the minions are seen for what they are, Rahm Emanuel and his gang will set off a Reichstag fire in this country of some kind, and they will recall the military dictatorship of Lincoln and Stanton during the Civil War when civilian suspects were arrested without warrant. I will tell you as I sit here, I fear that every night as I go to sleep. I put nothing past these agitators who have suddenly seized control of the most powerful economy and the most powerful military on earth. No, my friends, I am losing a great deal of sleep every night because I do see